Less than perfect credit and limited savings does not automatically mean you can't buy a home. But a lot of these people count themselves out even before they check. They assume their credit is too bad. They assume that they need tens and thousands of dollars, or they hear homebuyer assistance and think it's automatically free money. None of these assumptions actually gives you the full picture. And Texas actually has programs that actually may help eligible buyers with part of their down payment. But you need to understand how that assistance actually works, because every program has different rules. So today, I'm breaking down 3 options Texas and Houston buyers should know about, the benefit of each, and the catch nobody should ignore. Now stay with me, because I'm also going to show you a simple example of how assistance can actually work for a $250,000 FHA purchase. So first, what's down payment assistance? Down payment assistance is money designed to help eligible buyers cover some or all of the funds needed toward their down payment. But here's the part that people actually miss. Assistance can be structured in different ways. It might be a grant that actually does not have to be repaid, a forgivable second loan that may be forgiven after you meet certain requirements, a deferred second loan where you don't make monthly payments, but the balance may become due later, or a repayable second loan that remains attached to the property. So when somebody says, I found free money to buy a house, slow down. You need to ask, okay, so what type of assistance is it? Is there a lien? How long do I need to live in the home, right? And what happens if I sell or I actually refinance? The benefit matters, but so does the actual catch. So program 1, My First Texas Home. My First Texas Home is a TDHCA program designed for eligible first-time home buyers in Texas. It combines a 30-year mortgage with down payment and closing cost assistance. Now, depending on the current availability, assistance may be offered through a 3-year deferred forgivable second lien or a 30-year deferred repayable second lien. TDHCA says assistance can be as much as 5% of the mortgage loan, but the available percentage and interest rate option can change. Now, here's the benefit. The assistance may reduce how much of your own savings you need to put toward the purchase. Here's the catch. With a 3-year forgivable option, the assistance is not simply a check with no conditions. The second lien is forgiven after the required period only when the program's conditions are met. Selling, refinancing, transferring the home, paying off the first mortgage, or no longer using it as your primary residence can trigger repayment before forgiveness. Now, you also still have to qualify for the mortgage and meet the program's income, property, and first-time buyer requirements. Now, assistance does not replace approval. It works alongside approval. So program 2, Home Sweet Texas. Home Sweet Texas is offered through the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. It provides options and down payment assistance for eligible low and moderate income Texas buyers. Now, depending on the option available, assistance may be structured as a grant or a second lien. The benefit is that you may receive help with upfront costs while still getting a fixed rate mortgage. The catch is that the interest rate assistance amount, income limits, credit requirements, and repayment terms can vary by option. So that means you should never compare assistance programs by the assistance amount alone. One program might actually offer more money but come with higher mortgage rate or a different repayment requirements. Now, you need to compare the entire loan and not just the headlines. So program 3 I want to talk about is the City of Houston Homebuyer Assistance. Now, for buyers purchasing inside the Houston city limits, the City of Houston currently offers up to $75,000 in assistance based on financial need. Now, eligible buyers generally must be first-time home buyers, meet household income requirements, and purchase a home that pays City of Houston taxes. The assistance is no interest forgivable loan secured by and is fulfilled after 5 years living in the home. Living or selling early can actually require repayment of that assistance. So the benefit of it is obvious. For an eligible Houston buyer, the program may provide significantly more assistance than many statewide percentage-based programs. The catch: it has narrow income and property location rules, additional program steps, and a 5-year occupancy requirement. And the city's program does not simply follow FHA guidelines because it has its own internal eligibility requirements. So just because you qualify for an FHA mortgage does not automatically mean you're going to qualify for the city program. So example, a $250,000 FHA purchase. Let's use a made-up Texas couple. Together, they earn approximately probably $85,000 per year. They have $10,000 saved, and they want to purchase a $250,000 home using FHA financing. Now, the minimum FHA down payment is going to be 3.5%, which would be $87.50. Now, for illustration only, let's assume that they selected the My First Texas Home option, which provides assistance equal up to 3% of the mortgage loan. The estimated base FHA mortgage would approximately be $241,250, and then 3% of that amount would actually be $7237.50 in assistance. Now that will leave approximately $1,512.50 of minimum down payment for the buyers to cover. Their remaining savings could potentially go towards closing costs, prepaid taxes and insurance, inspections, moving expenses, or emergency reserves. But that does not mean that their total cash needed would automatically be $1,512.50. Closing costs, prepaid expenses, lender changes, title costs, and assistance program terms still matter. So this example simply shows how assistance might reduce the buyer's down payment burden. And because we're using the 3-year forgivable option in this example, that couple would also need to understand that selling, refinancing, transferring the property, paying off the first mortgage, or no longer living there as their primary residence before the forgiveness conditions are satisfied could create a repayment obligation. Now, what about credit? So your credit does not have to be perfect, but assistance does not erase your credit history either. The mortgage program and the program assistance may each have their own eligibility rules. Your entire financial picture actually does matter. Your payment history, your debt, your income, your monthly obligations, and whether the loan itself is actually approvable. This is why you should stop diagnosing yourself through TikTok comments or somebody else's home buying story, right? Your situation, it just needs to be reviewed on its own, just flat out and simple. Stop counting yourself out because your credit is not perfect or because you don't have huge savings in your account. You may qualify for assistance right now, and even if you don't qualify today, that doesn't mean your home ownership is just dead, It just means you need a real plan showing what you need to fix, what you need to save, and what makes sense actually on your timeline. So DM me the word assistance. We'll set up a real call. Let's look at your situation and determine what your next steps should actually be. Eligibility assistance amounts, interest rates, and program terms can actually change, so your actual options must be confirmed when you apply. Peace.